smell bad. There's something wrong. So we call the repairman because it's under warranty because I just bought this house. Call the repairman, and he comes and looks at it, and he says that nothing's wrong with it. And I was like, well, you didn't run a load of laundry, so how do you know? And he said, well, I can't see the problem right now with my own eyes, so I can't say anything's wrong with it. And then he said he can't do anything about it because he's just here to assess. And I was like, what are you here to assess? And he said, the problem. And I said, I already told you the problem. The problem is that the water levels, because it's one of those stupid fucking energy saving washers that don't actually work, that are in theory, but you're not weighing my clothes correctly because some clothes are heavier than others. And to say that you can determine the size of a load based on the weight of it, it just doesn't fucking make sense, because some shirts are very heavy material, and then other shirts the same size are light material. So it just doesn't make sense. I fought with this man for 45 minutes. He then tried to get me to sign a paper saying that he fixed the problem. I refused to. He forged my signature and tried to slip it in his pocket as he was leaving, saying that he fixed my washer, when he told me he wasn't even there to fix my washer. He told me he was only there to assess it. So why would I sign a paper saying he fixed my washer when my clothes still smell bad? I haven't done laundry since. I just keep buying fucking underwear. I had a locksmith come in, because when you buy a new house, you change the locks. Everyone knows that. It's covered by warranty. Like, it's just like, yeah, of course, you move into a house, you change the locks because the old owners or their friends or people who used to work here, whatever, might have the keys. So you change the locks. So I changed the locks, and he broke my doors. I couldn't use my front door. And I was like, hey, my door's broken. And then when he came back to fix my door, because I literally couldn't open it, he tried to charge me $100. I'm a 28-year-old woman. I live alone in a big house. Of course I have an alarm system because I'm a 28-year-old woman living alone in a big house. So I have this alarm system that everybody in the neighborhood has, okay? Everybody has it. They rave about it. It comes with this patrol who's around the neighborhood 24 hours a day, who are actually incredible. Like, the patrol's great. They get there so much faster than the police. They check on you. They're really great. In fact, the people before me who lived in this house already had this system because everybody in this neighborhood has the same alarm system. So a lot of the equipment was already installed and I didn't have to worry about it. They just had to activate it. There were a few sensors I had to add because some of the windows didn't have it, but for the most part, everything's good. So I get this alarm system activated, and I'm at VidCon and I get a call saying that one of my alarms is activated, one of my doors was opened, and they came by to investigate, and they looked all around. They're like, nothing's broken. There was nothing in the house at the time. They said, nothing's broken. We don't see anything. Happens a billion more times. And I'm just like, okay, so that sensor is probably faulty, right? They come and look at it. They say there's nothing wrong with the sensor. So then they leave. It happens again. They come and look at it, and somebody goes, oh, it looks like there might be a little bit of moisture. We should replace the sensor. So they replace the sensor. I feel good about it. I have to pay for it, by the way, to replace the sensor. And then the same fucking alarm goes off. So I paid for that sensor, and it clearly didn't need to be replaced, which is very annoying. So then, and the service fee, of course. So I paid for the sensor and the installation of the sensor. It still goes off. Then somebody else comes and they go, oh, you just have to deadbolt your door. The wind is blowing it. Your sensors are so sensitive that if the wind blows my door, it's going to trigger. Nobody else in the neighborhood has this problem. It's just me. Whatever. So we let that one slide. So there were 5 sensors we needed to install around the windows in my house. I go to Texas. I land in Texas. And the first things that happen is I'm in the car with like Irene's brother, who I just met, her friends who I just met, her mom who I just met, and we're in the car, and I get a call from this alarm system. All 5 of the sensors went off at once, and they're freaking out, and I'm like, that can't be right, unless it's a literal heist. There's no way that happened. So they're in my house, they're freaking out, the alarms are constantly going off, my neighbors are freaking out, they're like pissed at me that my alarms are going off, and I'm like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? They were just installed wrong. Like, this is somebody who, how did they install literally 5 sensors wrong that they all triggered at once? And what triggered them? I was like, well, how could that possibly happen that all of the sensors would go off at once? And they go, maybe a truck drove by? What? My burglar alarms are all going off at once? Because a truck drove by? This is, by the way, a pretty fucking expensive security system. So I paid for the installation of those, and then they had to come back and fix them. And then the alarms go off again. And somebody comes by and they look at my closet with everything and said, oh, this receptor can't be here. And I said, well, why is it there? And he said, I don't know. Somebody installed it wrong. And nobody else in the neighborhood has a problem. I just don't understand. All of this to say, when you see me explode finally at something, it's never that. So you may be looking at me like, wow, this bitch is really exploding over curtain rods. It's not the curtain rods. I mean, it is, but it's the curtain rods and the sconces and moving my own refrigerator and having to pay hundreds of dollars to replace an elevator floor and my door being screwed shut and my washing machine still not working and my neighbors hating me because my alarm system is always going off and everything else. I'd like to close this out until I think about something else that drove me fucking insane with this, because this is just such an accurate depiction of just my life. And when I say that this happens every time, I promise you I'm not exaggerating. Ask anybody who's ever traveled or flown with me. When we land at the airport, everybody calls Ubers at the same time. In fact, I usually call Uber a little bit earlier because I know that this always happens. And for some reason, everybody's Uber picks them up at the airport within like 2 to 5 minutes. And mine always take legitimately 15 to 20 minutes to get to me. And it's like, I called my Uber so long before you. Why did I get the Uber that takes 20 minutes to get here and you all got Ubers that take 5 minutes to get here? It's just like the universe humbling me, because it's like, you know what? You kind of are doing pretty okay and like you have a lot of blessings. Let's humble this bitch. Somebody just accidentally reminded me of this story on Twitter, so I feel like I need to tell it here, because we're talking about every time I hire somebody, it just goes so drastically wrong that it doesn't make any fucking sense. And people just like don't do their job around me for some reason. So my makeup artist, the last time I needed a makeup artist, the one that I usually use that I trust and I like a lot, was not available. So I used somebody else who somebody recommended. They're like, I used her a ton of times. She's really great. And honestly, at the end of the day, like, I can do my own makeup pretty well. So if somebody gets me mostly there, if I like need a little bit more smoke in the corner, or like my eyes need to be brightened a little bit, like I can do that myself. Whatever. So the first day, she put on concealer that was darker than my foundation. So like it looked like I had dark circles, and I kept telling her like, I need a really bright under eye. I'm Middle Eastern, so like the undertones, like you need to pay attention. Like I know I look white, but like pay attention to like my undertones, like whatever. So I ended up doing my own under eye and stuff. So it was fine. Like I ended up fixing my makeup, doing most of my eye. Like there was a lot of annoying shit about it, but like it was fine. Everything was fine. So the next day I told her, don't do my under eye makeup until I do my concealer. I was like, I'll do my own concealer because I have my concealer that I like. Like I have a method that I like, the way I pat it in, because she was brushing the concealer this way. And I know a lot of you may not know this. You don't do that with concealer. You have to pat it in like this so it doesn't crease. My shit was so creasy. So I said, I'll just do my own concealer. It's fine. Like I have a certain way that I like to do it, so you don't swipe it on my fucking face. So the next day, she's doing my makeup for the first look. And she had reference photos days in advance to like study and look at and make sure everything was fine. Like I checked with her. I was like, you have the reference photos? You feel confident? She's like, yes. So at one point, I think that she's lining my lid with a pencil liner because it is so rough and hurts and is so tender that I think that the pencil is sticking through. And I was like, hey, I think you need to sharpen your pencil. I can feel the wood. She goes, oh no, it's just a brush. And I was like, what? Like, what? So then, that's fine. Like your tools are not professional. And like, I get it. Like if you're on a budget, that's fine. But like you can find very cheap brushes that are not painful. And like everything hurt when she was doing it. So then I feel her start doing my under eye. And I stop her because I'm like irritated because I specifically told her, do not do my under eye until I do the concealer because everyone fucking knows. Well, no, the way she put on my concealer, she did my whole under eye and then she mixed in the eyeshadow from my under eye and the mascara with the concealer. So I didn't trust her to do that again. So I was like, just don't do the under eye until I do my concealer. And she starts doing my under eye. And I was like, oh, could you not do my under eye until I do my concealer? Because I don't want there to be like a shadow cast. I was trying to be so fucking polite. Ask Irene. And she was like, oh, well, this is how I was trained. So this is how I'm going to do it. And I was like, all you have to do is like not do the under eye. And she was like, well, I need to structure your eye so I can figure out how to do the top. And I can't do that without doing the bottom makeup first. So I was like, this is very fucking annoying, but I'm going to stay silent. So I feel her start doing like mascara and lashes and stuff. And I look in the mirror and this look was a very heavy black glam lid with black glitter and like red all around and like red diffused down. And I look in the mirror and my entire lid is nude, like doesn't even look like there's color on my eye, nude. And then kind of like this burgundy red, like this color in the crease. And this was supposed to be like a hot red and she used that color. And I look in there, I'm like, oh, do you want to like, should you finish the eyeshadow before you start adding like mascara and everything? And she was like, oh, it's pretty much finished. I just need to do like the touch-ups after whatever. And I was like, you got the reference photo, right? And I'm still trying to be polite, like making sure like you got the photo, right? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So then I pull up the reference photo and I'm like, I zoom in on the eye, which looks literally nothing like this. Like this is a glittery ass, sparkly ass eye. There's not a single bit of like glitter or sparkle on my eye. So I was like, this lid is black with a black glitter with a little bit of a silver reflux. Like you could kind of see a little bit of sparkle, but it for sure was not silver glitter. That comes in handy later. And then I go, and this part is like red. Like she kind of used like a muddy, like a brownish, burgundy-ish color. I was like, this needs to be like red. And the amount of time that she spent on this look, on my life, it looked like she dipped into a burgundy crease color and just like kind of went like this. And that's pretty much all that was done besides the under eye, of course. And I was like, okay, I need a black lid with a silver reflux on it. Like, whatever. I said black glitter with like a little bit of a silver reflux. So then she plays with my eye a little bit more, deepens up the red a little bit, adds a little bit more of like a reddish red hue. And then I look in the mirror and she starts like to go to do the mascara. And I was like, this is a black lid with a black glitter with a silver reflux. I was like, there's literally no black on my eye. Like I was so fucking confused. And she goes, oh yeah, I need to find the product first. And I was like, do you not have the product that you need? And she was just like, yeah, like I did, but it's gone. And I was like, okay. So then she goes, you know what? I might need to run to this. She's like, can I send a PA to buy one? And I was like, I'm not sure the PA will understand makeup enough to pick out the right product at the drugstore. Because like realistically, again, I'm not trying to be like bougie or like cunty. The look that I needed, there's not many products that you could find at a random drugstore that could do it. This is why you hire a professional makeup artist to bring you products that you don't normally have and like to do a job that you normally couldn't do. So to like run to CVS and hope that they have, basically what I needed was a Stila black glitter. I know some of you guys might know, like their liquid Stilas, they have like a black one. That's what the look was. So she wanted to go find something at the drugstore. So she goes to the drugstore. She comes back. I sit there. I let her try to do it. My eye was bright ass disco ball fucking silver. And I looked in the mirror and I went, do you have any black? Please? And then the director came in and he asked about it because I was like texting the director, like, I don't know what to do. Like, this isn't the look. Like, it's very out of place. It doesn't go with the vibe of the video at all. Like, it looks like I'm at a club. Like, I don't understand. And she goes, well, I had it. It was in my makeup brush. It must have rolled out. Why would you have black whatever in your makeup. Like, it was just like such a dumb, like, why would you have it with your brushes? And like, if it rolled out, where is it? This is like a 10 by 10 room. Like, it just didn't make sense. So I'm clearly pissed off at this point. I completely redo my own makeup in that scene. And it's time for the last scene. The reference photo was my makeup look from Medicate. So I need to look washed out. I need to look a little paler. I need to look sallow. I need to have like heavy dark circles under my eyes. And like a lot of like kind of like reds and purples underneath on like my eyes to just make me look sick and sallow. This woman, I'm like honestly thinking back about it and like getting upset because I'm just like, I don't know if she did it on purpose to be just like, because she was upset with me or what it is. I think somebody's about to call me, so I'm going to start a new story. Hold on. She spent a solid hour on my eyes. And when I tell you, I looked into the mirror, and I'm not exaggerating. I promise. Ask anyone that was there. I'm not exaggerating. It looked like I was wearing zero makeup. I don't know what she thought she was doing on my lids, but she was using my actual skin tone on my eyelids, but you could still see all like my veins through, and she didn't put anything on my face or concealer on. And by the way, she started with my under eyes again, and then like I gave her my concealer to like do the concealer, and she didn't put face makeup on or concealer on. And I said, what about my face? And she goes, well, you said you wanted to look like sick. And I was like, you still have to put concealer on. And she goes, oh, I guess that means you didn't actually want to look that sick then. How fucking bad at your job are you that you genuinely think that when you're watching a movie or a music video or a TV show and somebody looks like sick in bed, that they're not wearing makeup? Of course they're wearing fucking makeup. You can't go on camera without makeup. Like, you need to hide my fucking pimples. I don't want to see this. Like, this doesn't look sick. This just looks like unconcealed. When you're doing a sick look, and like, I'm sorry for all the people that don't understand makeup, you still blank out your face, you still conceal, you still do foundation, and then on top of that, you build. And also, I was very, very tan at the time, and I told her I need to look paler, I need to look washed out, I need to look sick, I need to look distressed. And she didn't put anything on to do that. I looked in the mirror, and I swear on everything, that hour that I spent getting my makeup done it looked like I wasn't wearing anything. So then I take my concealer and I start doing it myself, and everything that she just put on that looked like nothing was covered. And she literally went like, she scoffed at me because she just spent an hour doing my makeup somehow. I don't know what she did, and I'm the asshole. And it gets worse. I'm on set, and I'm obviously giving away like what music video I was working on, but I'm in blue water that was turned black in post. And I would like go like this and, you know, scratch my head, and there'd be a streak of blue on my face or somewhere, like sweating. And my friend Ellie came, and she was on set, and she looked in the monitor, and she looked over at the makeup artist, and she goes, do you see that? And she just got there. She had no idea any of this had gone on all day. She just walked in and genuinely was like, why isn't the makeup artist doing her job? And she walked over to the makeup artist. She goes, do you see the monitor? And she's like, yeah. She goes, you see that huge streak of blue on her face? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, go do your job. That's how apparent it was that this woman just wasn't interested in doing her fucking job. Why? She came highly recommended. I was fucking nice to her. She had reference photos days in advance. I had simple requests like, hey, don't do my under eye until after I do my concealer. And she blatantly defied me. I have one more story that I'm inclined